I dropped out of Tsinghua to attend Peking University, and the whole internet is mocking my reckless move. Only my sister, praised as a once-in-a-century genius beauty in the Tsinghua chemistry department, who sheltered me, is panicking. At her celebration banquet for starting her direct PhD, she cried rivers. I could not have achieved what I have today without my sister's inspiration. Sister, come back quickly. I know you hate me, but our parents love you. I sneered and shut down the computer. Only because in the previous life, I was the favored one. Yet my painstaking scientific research, even in a closed experiment, was plagiarized by her. After a few instances, my mentor and classmates began to mock me for only talking on paper. To prove myself, I worked through the night for 100 days and finally conquered the core problem. But on the eve of submitting the results, I found that all the data had been destroyed, and she leapt to become a shining new star in the scientific community. I went to argue with her, but I was slandered by everyone as a madman, expelled from school, and scorned by my parents. Under her fans, online abuse, I was suddenly run over and killed by a truck. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day the laboratory caught fire. Zhao Zhao, hurry! Put out the fire! The classmates were panicking and running outside, but Li Ming was rushing back in. My data is still inside. I grabbed him hard. Don't go in. That's 3 months of our. Li Ming struggled to shake off my hand. I held the door handle tightly, letting them curse me as selfish and cowardly, because I know that although the fire isn't large, deadly poisonous substances have been placed inside. There are 3 minutes left, and my fiancé Lu Jingxing and Xin Xingwan will arrive soon. In a past life, at this very moment, I dashed into the blaze to rescue the data, but I fainted and nearly failed to be saved. When I woke up, Xin Xingwan was crying and accusing me of intentionally setting the fire to ruin her research. Everyone believed it, including my parents. Time passed by the second and the minute. Xin Zhao Zhao, what are you doing? Li Ming was utterly furious. Are you crazy? Other classmates gathered around as well, and someone started shoving me. Did she get by it? She must be jealous that Xin Xingwan is about to get direct admission through to graduation. It's her arson. She's not letting anyone put out the fire now. I sneered coldly at them, saying nothing. The footsteps sounded. Lu Jingxing and Xin Xingwan arrived in quick succession. Zhao Zhao. Lu Jingxing only glanced at me, then immediately turned to Xin Xingwan. Xingwan, are you okay? Xin Xingwan's body trembled slightly, and she hugged him tightly. Uncle, I'm so afraid. The fire brigade is here. Someone shouted. The firefighters rushed in to start putting out the fire. The mentor arrived in a hurry, seeing the chaos with a pale face. What happened? Li Ming immediately tattled. Teacher, Xin Zhao Zhao prevented us from saving the data. We suspect she started the fire on purpose. What? The mentor exclaimed, looking at me in shock. At that moment, my parents arrived as well. My mother grabbed my arm as soon as she saw me and shook it hard. Zhao Zhao, how could you be so careless? Xingwan's research is all ruined. I don't. My father's face turned even uglier. Zhao Zhao, how can you be so irresponsible? This project has consumed so much of our effort. Your sister is the key to success. And you're so stubborn. You must win over her. In a previous life, at this moment, I was blamed by them, crying and wailing, trying desperately to explain, but no one believed me. Everyone envies our family. 2 scientist parents and a pair of brilliant science-loving daughters. Only I know that this home is also just a pile of mud. Xin Xingwan gracefully intercedes for me, and I coldly watch her perform. I shook off my mother's hand. I didn't start this fire, but I won't continue with this study. Everyone was stunned. The mentor thought he had misheard. Zhao Zhao, what did you say? I said I want to drop out. Drop out today. Are you crazy? The mother yelled. Do you know what you're saying? I'm perfectly awake. I looked at the group in front of me. Lu Jingxing frowned. Zhao Zhao, don't act on impulse. Acting on impulse? I smiled. Lu Jingxing, let's break up. You two have already been hanging out together. Don't think I don't know. His face instantly turned ugly. Tsinghua was also shocked. Sister, how can you misunderstand me and brother-in-law like this? I thought for a moment and cupped my mouth in a chuckle. Then from now on I'll call brother-in-law my older brother. I ignored her and spoke directly to the supervisor. Teacher, when can the withdrawal procedures be completed? The supervisor was still trying to salvage the situation. Zhao, calm down a bit. We can investigate this slowly. Don't bother with an investigation. I cut him off. I've already decided. Mother was so angry she trembled all over. You unfilial daughter. Even Tsinghua is crying anxiously. How long do you plan to make a scene? I looked at Tsinghua. She was indeed wiping away tears. A worried look for me yet helpless at the same time. Unfortunately, I am no longer the fool who was kept in the dark in my previous life. Mom, you're right. I suddenly laughed. I really don't deserve such a good little sister. This left everyone puzzled and at a loss. Tsinghua sensed unease stirring within. Sis, don't say that. We will always be family. I only know that ever since I brought this adopted sister into the house, they became a family. She can take away my family, my lover, my mentor friend, but she cannot take away the thing she values most. My very being, my dignity as a human. I must uncover how she obtained every one of my experimental results. 2-3 days later, I dragged my suitcase back home. I told them I wanted to retake university entrance exams. And they looked at me like I was an idiot. Zhao, you're already 24. Do you really want to compete for university spots with 18-year-olds? I have my plans. What plans do you have? Mother sneered. You think you can outscore those kids? Your previous good grades were because your sister carried you along. Your mental resilience is too unstable. Like a defective prototype. Tsinghua gently pulled at her mother's sleeve. Mom, don't say that about sister. She turned to me. Sister, you don't have to be so rushed. Take it easy. Perhaps there will be other opportunities. I don't look at her hypocritical face. I know my parents have already transferred my dowry in a house that my grandmother left me to Tsinghua. Grandmother has loved me since I was little, saying I am the brightest child in the family. But now I have nothing in this family. Maybe I should leave. The next evening was a family dinner, and Lu Jingxing also came. He went straight to Tsinghua as soon as he walked in. The two of them chatted and laughed. Lu Jingxing forked a piece of food for Tsinghua, leaned close to her ear, and said something that made her giggle. Tsinghua smiled and casually tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. It was this movement that made me notice a very faint scar under her hairline at the back of her neck. The same as mine. In the same spot. I lowered my head and fumbled with the rice in the bowl, not saying a word. Jingxing Gij, what do you think about the direction of the molecular spin paradox? Tsinghua suddenly spoke. My hand paused midair. That was the theory I wrote yesterday in my notebook. I hadn't shown it to anyone. Lu Jingxing immediately became interested, and Tsinghua began to speak endlessly. Every detail exactly the same as what I wrote in my draft. Lu Jingxing listened with great interest, nodding in approval non-stop. Tsinghua, you are really a genius. After dinner, everyone dispersed. The next morning, Tsinghua's competition team came to the house, and the living room was filled with teachers from various subjects. Lu Jingxing is wearing a suit, handling various affairs. I dragged my suitcase downstairs, and all eyes turned toward me. Zhao, where are you going? Mother frowned and asked. I'm going to study for exams. Father slammed the teacup down. Its sound especially loud. What more exams are you preparing for? It's embarrassing. Mother interjected. Zhao, wake up. Go back and apologize to your teacher and classmates. He won't make things difficult for you for our sake. I pulled up the handle of the suitcase. Actually, I have applied for quite a few patents over the years, and the money in my hands is enough for me to live for a long time. Once you step out of this door, don't think about coming back. Hearing my father get so angry, the others in the living room exchanged glances. They never cared whether anyone was there or not. If they felt like scolding, they would scold. I am reminded of the scene when my father taught me to ride a bicycle, and my mother braided my hair into pigtails. At that time, I was the only child in the family, and they gave all their love to me. But after Tsinghua came, everything changed. Okay. I dragged the suitcase toward the door. The door closed behind me, and I heard my mother say to Tsinghua, "Ignore her. Go out and fast for a couple of meals and she'll come back." I rented a small apartment outside. No one knew this address. There was no communication tool, not even internet access. Not a single scrap of draft paper is left behind. Being hundreds of miles apart, you can't steal it anyway, right? On the day of the competition, there aren't many people in the exam hall. Most are top students from all over the country, and I'm the only candidate who's a non-student. After the exam began, I quickly skimmed the questions. An hour later, I handed in the paper early. 2 hours later, other test takers started to come out one after another, and most of them looked exhausted. 3 days later, the news came out. On the phone screen, the glaring headline almost makes me want to smash the phone. THU genius girl Tsinghua creates another miracle, tackling competition problems with a brand new approach. In the accompanying photo, Tsinghua faces the camera and repeats aloud the exact core set of solution logic I keep in my mind. Every detail, every step of the deduction, even the clever twists I came up with on the spur of the moment. She phrases exactly the same. Lu Jingxing proudly stood beside her, holding the award certificate. I turned off my phone and leaned against the wall. Physical isolation, information blockade, the two exam rooms were miles apart. But she still stole it. I returned to the place where I live and pulled out a black and white photo from the depths of a drawer. In the photo, Grandma is young, and a stranger stands beside her. On the back, written in pen, Ji Xian, 1967, I dialed a number I hadn't contacted for a long time. Grandma warned not to contact this person unless absolutely necessary. I told him about my confusion. There was a long silence on the other end of the line, followed by a remark that left me completely puzzled. Tsinghua is not adopted. What does this mean? Could she be my real sister? There was a brief pause on the other end of the line. Yes, and number 3, the internet is buzzing. Tsinghua is the national school beauty. Over the years, many talent scouts have tried to recruit her, and she has tens of millions of fans online. The top of the hot search is a comparison photo of me and Tsinghua. The comment section was in an uproar. This must be Star One's sister, right? The solution approach is so similar. Could it be plagiarism? Sister copying from younger sister. This is too embarrassing. The phone rang again. The competition committee said my accusation of plagiarism needed to be investigated. The next morning, the conference room was full. Everyone had come. Qin Zhao, sit. The host pointed to the chair across from her. The hearing today is held because of a report. Someone says you plagiarized Tsinghua solution approach. I didn't cheat. Lu Jingxing stood up. Your ideas are almost identical, and Tsinghua's are more complete. Why don't you go ask her that she copied me? My father cut me off. Zhao, how long are you going to keep trying to wriggle out of this? The written exam is okay, but the key is a free experiment, and what you did is identical to it. Even in the evening, Tsinghua didn't know you were going to participate in this competition. Isn't it you secretly taking her solution ideas to refer to? Lu Jingxing took out a notebook. This is your diary. I froze. That was my private diary kept in the drawer of my home desk. March 15th. Tsinghua published another paper in the evening, and my parents were wildly happy. When will I ever surpass her? April 2nd. My experiment failed again, while Tsinghua's research was progressing smoothly. I am so jealous of her. Mother's voice trembled. Zhao, how can you write these? Tsinghua is your sister. Tsinghua spoke, her voice quivering with tears. Sister, I have always regarded you as my idol. Since I was little, you have been the one I admire most. I don't understand. Why do you treat me like this? Star Knight, don't cry. Lu Jingxing hugged her shoulders. This isn't your fault. The tutor looked at me with a face full of disappointment. Qin Zhao Zhao, I am terribly disappointed in you. I announce that I am canceling your competition results. The host then said, we also want to suggest that your school take appropriate action against you. My father pointed at me. Unlucky at home. How could I have given birth to a daughter like you? I stood up and walked to the door. No one stopped me. Reaching the end of the hallway, I paused. Now, do you know the answer? I turned back. An old man stood behind me. The same person I had called earlier. Ji Xian. After he said a few words, a hum filled my head. Memories from a past life surged forward. When I was 9, I tested IQ 160 and began to stand out in various competitions. When I was 10, Qin Xinghuan was adopted by my family, and my grades began to decline. At 11, my experiments repeatedly failed, while Qin Xinghuan published articles in top international science journals. At 15, I ranked 3rd in the entire department and entered Tsinghua University. In the same year, Qin Xinghuan ranked 1st, and she was only 14. All the misunderstandings, all the misfortunes, all the setbacks, they all lined up into one thread. I looked through the corridor window and saw Qin Xinghuan downstairs surrounded by reporters. She smiled very sweetly and confidently. Lu Jing stood beside her, holding an award certificate. Her parents were there too, faces full of pride. I smiled. The smile was light at first, then grew bigger and bigger. Ji Xian looked at me quietly, saying nothing. I couldn't stop laughing. So that was it. Everything made sense now. I took my student ID from my bag, tore it in half, and dropped it on the ground. Then I took out my phone and dialed the Beijing University admissions office. Suggest paying points. For online rumors spread very quickly. In less than 3 days, my news had spread throughout the academic circle. Qin Zhao Zhao chose Peking University's paleontology program, abandoning Tsinghua's chemistry department. Why not just give up on the good future? She's not as pretty as her sister, and she doesn't have as much brains as her sister either. The comments section was filled with nothing but laughter and mockery. I translated a few, then turned off my phone. Whatever. On the first day of school, the professors in the Department of Paleontology looked at me with puzzled eyes. Student Qin Zhao Zhao, are you sure you want to choose this major? There's only you in this class. Sure. Several freshmen are whispering. They all know me. They know Qin Zhao Zhao, whose score was cancelled in the chemistry competition. I heard she plagiarized her sister. Too embarrassing. To the point of embarrassment at home. After the first class ended, I took out my phone and blocked all of their contact information. WeChat, phone, QQ, none will be left unused. Then all social media accounts were deleted. I want to disappear completely from their world. That afternoon, I went to see Ji Xian. He lived in an old sahuan deep in the alley, with 2 locust trees at the door. The old man was learned and knowledgeable. I often asked him questions, and listened to stories of grandma. During the day I had classes. At night I hung out in the library. Such days are very quiet. But on the other side, Qin Xinghuan's days aren't so easy. She is preparing for the direct PhD qualification exam, but she finds that the steady stream of inspirations in her mind has dried up. Facing a complex topic, her mind went blank. Her mentor spoke to her. Xinghuan, your recent performance hasn't been good. Your project report is completely unoriginal, and your research approach is quite chaotic. This doesn't seem like your usual level. Lu Jingxing also noticed the anomaly. Xinghuan, what happened to you? Lately you seem a bit out of sorts. Qin Xinghuan panicked. She frantically flipped through her past research materials, hoping to regain that burst of inspiration. But there was nothing at all. That intuition capable of seeing through the essence of complex chemical reactions has vanished. That talent for always coming up with clever solutions has disappeared as well. She is just an ordinary student, not even halfway ordinary. Where is elder sister? She asked Lu Jingxing. I don't know. She blocked us all. Qin Xinghuan's panic grew more and more. She started frantically searching for my messages, but I had already vanished from everyone's sight. So, at the school celebration, She cried in front of all the reporters. I miss my sister Xin Zhao Zhao very much. Although we had some misunderstandings before, she will always be my most esteemed sister. I hope she can see this message. Hope she can forgive me. Hope she can come back to my side. I can't live without her. This message quickly went viral on the hot search. The campus belle looks beautiful when she cries. I feel pity just watching. Protect the best night stars. Bad women. Stay away. Stop researching and come out to act in a movie. Save any IU. Parents are anxious too. They came to the school to find me several times because I didn't live on campus. And because my major required field trips so often, they couldn't find anyone. I smiled, knowing they were anxious. I turned off my phone and fiddled with a fossil skull in front of me. Only a month later did my advisor discover my new phone number. Xiao Jia. Grandma Zhao. Please come back. Without you, our project can't move forward. 5 in the cafe. Lu Jingxing sat across from me. He has become much thinner, and there are dark shadows under his eyes. Zhao Zhao, you finally agreed to see me. How have you been lately? He asked tentatively. I stirred my coffee. Pretty good. I really like a quiet life. Are you really not doing chemical research anymore? Not much to it. I looked up at him. Now I'm focused on paleontology. Lu Jingxing's hand stopped. He stared at me for a few seconds, then suddenly leaned forward. Zhao Zhao, do you remember our first night in the lab? Back then you drew an entire blackboard full of molecular formulas for a reaction mechanism. I continue stirring the coffee. And that time when you were sick, I said the cold medicine was too bitter. So I bought you sugar. Lu Jingxing. I cut him off. Say it straight. He gave a wry smile. Zhao Zhao, the teachers at Tsinghua all miss you a lot. Professor Zhang even asked me when you would return. I put down the spoon. So what? Xinguan has not been in a good state recently. Lu Jingxing paused for a moment. She says she always feels like something is missing, and her thoughts aren't clear when she's doing research. She misses you very much. I sneered inwardly, but wore a concerned expression on the outside. What happened? Lu Jingxing held my hand. You are sisters. Even the biggest misunderstanding can be resolved. I lowered my head and looked at his hand. In my past life, it was these hands that helped Xinxingwan perfect that paper. And it was these hands that pushed me away. I don't want to go back. I pulled my hand away. Zhao Zhao. Lu Jingxing urged. You can't do this. You have talent. You have responsibilities. Watching his anxious face, I had an idea in my mind. I paused for a moment and said, but if Xinguan really needs help. Lu Jingxing's eyes lit up. Are you willing? I don't want to see her. I shook my head. But I have a research direction here that you can reference. What research? Design of a new catalyst. I lowered my head and touched my bag. I had done some preliminary work before, but later I felt it wasn't interesting, so I gave up. Of course, that's a lie. This topic is the most prized achievement of my previous life. I spent a full 2 years finding the key reaction pathway, only to have all these stolen by Xinxingwan. Now I want to use it as bait. I take a manuscript from my bag. Here are some of my ideas and preliminary experimental data. If she can use it, take it. Lu Jingxing took the manuscript and flipped through a few pages. Zhao Zhao, this line of thought is so brilliant. How could you say it's dull? Maybe it will be useful to you all. I stood up. I have other matters to attend to. I'll be leaving now. Wait! Lu Jingxing chased after me. Zhao Zhao. Thank you. Xinguan would be so happy to know. I looked back at him. Gave a small smile. Hopefully. Back in the alley, Ji Xian was watering flowers in the yard. Things are done? He asked. Yeah. I sat beside the stone table. The fish bit the hook. Ji Xian paused his rhythm. Are you sure you want to do this? I coldly snorted at that manuscript. The first half is indeed my genuine research result, with detailed data and clear logic. But in the 7th step reaction, I deliberately left a fatal trap. If the manuscript were followed, the early stages would go very smoothly, and people might even think it is a genius conception. But in the final stage, the entire reaction system would collapse. I hope our guess is wrong, Ji Xian said. I looked at the locust tree in the courtyard and thought, if she is really skilled, she would spot the problem at a glance. 3 days later, Lu Jingxing sent a message. Xinghuan was excited after getting your manuscript, saying the inspiration had returned. She is ready to present this result at the International Chemistry Forum next month. I look at my phone screen. My mood is calm as still water. The forum live broadcast trailer has been released. Qin Xinghuan, as a representative of young scholars, will give a speech at the main venue. I open my computer and click on another file. 6. I clicked the live link on my phone. Qin Xinghuan walked toward the podium in a beige-white suit. A confident smile was on her face. Dear esteemed experts and scholars, Qin Xinghuan opened in English. Today I will share research on a new type of catalyst. The applause grew from the audience. Parents sat in the front row, with Lu Jingxing right beside them. This study took 2 years. Qin Xinghuan displayed the PPT. We discovered a brand new reaction pathway. The first half is my own hard work. She spoke with clarity, and the experts in the audience nodded frequently. Next is the core data analysis. Qin Xinghuan flipped to the key page. I sat up straight. She began to explain the optimization process of the 7-step reaction. Every data point copied exactly from the error version I left behind. A white-haired elderly professor on stage frowned. He is a Nobel laureate. Through this innovative design, we have increased catalytic efficiency by 300%, Qin Xinghuan said, growing more excited as she spoke. The elderly professor raised his hand. Please wait a moment. The venue quieted down. Qin Xinghuan's smile stiffened. Regarding the thermodynamic analysis of the 7-step reaction, I have a question. The elderly professor stood up. According to your parameters, this reaction will undergo thermal runaway at high temperatures. How do you plan to solve this problem? Qin Xinghuan paused for a second. Professor, we have already verified this issue. Verified? The old professor pushed up his glasses. When the temperature exceeds 280 degrees, what phenomena did you observe? Qin Xinghuan opened her mouth but couldn't say a word. The audience started whispering to each other. Parents. Faces changed, and Lu Jingxing sensed something was wrong. The second expert stood up. There is a detail about byproduct treatment that I don't understand. In accordance with your reaction conditions, a large amount of toxic intermediates would be produced. How do you avoid this? Qin Xinghuan broke out in a cold sweat on her forehead. We have a special treatment method. What is the third expert pressed? Qin Xinghuan was completely panicked. She started to ramble, stalling with vague terminology. The flashing lights flickered wildly. The reporters smelled a news story. The venue's large screen suddenly switched. Ji Xian appeared in a video link. Honored experts, I submit a supplementary report to the conference. Ji Xian's voice was calm. Regarding the same research topic, this scientist has complete experimental data and correct analysis. Ji Xian is an expert in life sciences. Years ago, he was marginalized to pursue paleontology because some of his scientific ideas were too advanced. Many people in the audience recognized him, and his words naturally carried weight. He is also my paleontology mentor. The screen displays the actual experimental report. Every data point is precise and faultless. Compared with Qin Xinghuan's version, the differences are shocking. The audience was in an uproar. Experts engaged in heated discussions. This mission's research has serious theoretical flaws. Using her method would produce toxic gases. This is a fundamental mistake. Qin Xinghuan swayed on stage, muttering, "Impossible, impossible." Live chat comments flooded the online stream. The mother and father wore ashen faces, almost overwhelmed by the gazes of their peers. Lu Jingxing wished he could find a slit and crawl in. The venue was in chaos. Reporters swarmed in, flashes flashing as they photographed Qin Xinghuan. 7 The experts volleyed with accusations, with some even standing up to challenge Qin Xinghuan's academic credentials. Qin Xinghuan stood on the stage, pale-faced, gripping the microphone tightly. She took a deep breath, looked up at the camera. Experts. Please listen to what I have to say. Her voice trembled. I did indeed obtain the wrong information, but I didn't do it on purpose. The audience under the stage was in an uproar. The experiment is my original work, but some key data were given to me by my sister, Qin Zhao Zhao. Qin Xinghuan's eyes reddened as she continued speaking. I was originally going to complete it on my own, but my sister kept asking me, and I softened. I really didn't mean to mislead anyone, and I've been sick recently, not in good shape, which is why I didn't notice the mistake. The venue fell quiet for a few seconds, then a louder discussion erupted. Father stood up. Xinghuan, are all you say true? Dad. Qin Xinghuan cried. Since big sister withdrew from Tsinghua, she started to take revenge on me. She has been interfering with my normal experiments. You must speak up for me. Bullet comments flooding the online livestream chat. How can this sister do that? Running into a sister like this is 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Qin Zhao Zhao, get out of the university. Don't disgrace us researchers. The mother covers her face and shakes her head, mumbling continuously. Zhao Zhao can't be like this. How can this be? On the stage, Qin Xinghuan sees the shift in public opinion and grows more and more smug. Actually, regarding this topic, I have complete and correct data. She spoke, opening another PPT. It was because I was too nervous just now and picked the wrong version. The new data appeared on the big screen. Every parameter is precise and accurate, and every step of the reaction is logically clear. The experts in the audience nodded in approval as they looked at the revised data. The Nobel laureate sat back down, his expression much more relaxed. This version indeed has no problems. The approach is very inventive, and the data is rigorous. Another expert added. Qin Xinghuan regained her confidence on stage and smiled at the camera. Scientific research tolerates no carelessness, and personal grudges must not be mixed in. I hope my sister can understand this principle. Applause filled the venue. Just as Qin Xinghuan was preparing to continue her speech, the back door of the venue was pushed open. I walked in. The venue fell silent, and everyone's eyes turned to me. Qin Xinghuan, you claim it was your independent experiment, and I did fake data to frame you. My voice sounded unusually clear in the quiet conference hall. If this really is your research result, you should know every detail like the back of your hand. Now I propose that we have a real experimental duel. Use this catalyst topic to design an experimental plan on the spot and answer the expert questions. Dare or not? The venue fell silent. Everyone was waiting for Qin Xinghuan's answer. Her face had paled to an unbecoming white. 8 in front of the experimental table, Qin Xinghuan and I stood on either side of the operating station. Experts and reporters filled the seats below, waiting for the outcome of this academic duel. Experiment time is 2 hours. Please begin, the host announced. I picked up the test tube, prepared the solution, adjusted the pH, and added the catalyst. Every step was precise to a milliliter. I had performed this procedure countless times. Qin Xinghuan is also operating, and her technique looks very professional. The order of adding the reagents is also fine. In the first 30 minutes, her progress is even faster than mine. Someone in the audience whispered, it seems Qin Xinghuan is really skilled. The father looked at Qin Xinghuan, a proud expression on his face. Mother breathed a sigh of relief and took Lu Jingxing's hand, saying, I knew Xinghuan wouldn't have any problems. 40 minutes had passed, and I began the 5th reaction. Add platinum catalyst. Adjust the temperature to 130 degrees, and start timing. Qin Xinghuan was also performing this step, but she hesitated for a few seconds and finally chose palladium catalyst. An hour had passed, and both experiments were proceeding smoothly. Entering step 7, the critical moment had arrived. I set the reaction conditions with the correct parameters, keeping the temperature at 280 degrees. Qin Xinghuan began to encounter problems. She stared at the experimental log in her hand, sweat starting to bead on her forehead. She attempted to carry out the reaction with the incorrect parameters, and the solution began to hiss, producing a pungent odor. Poisonous gas. An expert stood up and shouted. The staff immediately activated the ventilation system, and Qin Xinghuan was asked to retreat to a safe area. Her experiment completely failed. On my side, the reaction proceeded smoothly, and the final product purity reached over 98%. Experiments over, the host announced. A round of applause rose from the audience, but it was only for me. Qin Xinghuan stood at her own, looking at a scene of cluttered equipment, her face pale. Now please have both of you explain the experimental process. The Nobel laureate stood up and said. I walked to the microphone. The design idea of this catalyst is based on molecular orbital theory. The fifth step uses a platinum catalyst because its d-orbital energy levels are more suitable for this reaction system. The temperature control at 280 degrees in the seventh step is to ensure the reaction activation can be sufficiently overcome while avoiding side reactions. The experts in the audience nodded frequently. It's Qin Xinghuan's turn. She walked toward the microphone, opened her mouth, but couldn't speak. The experiment failed because there was a problem with the equipment. The equipment isn't the problem. The technician immediately retorted. We just checked it. Qin Xinghuan's face turned paler. That's a temperature control problem. Can you explain why you chose a palladium catalyst? The old professor pressed. Qin Xinghuan hesitated. Because palladium is cheap. Laughter erupted from the audience. In academic research, we do not choose catalysts with inappropriate prices based on cost. The old professor shook his head. Your basic knowledge has serious problems. Reporters frantically took photos, and the flashes left white marks on Qin Xinghuan's face. She finally broke down, crouching on the ground, covering her head and crying. I didn't mean to. I really didn't mean to. Lu Jingxing wanted to go on stage to comfort her, but was stopped by the staff. Her parents sat in the audience, the pride on their faces completely gone, replaced by shock. I picked up the microphone and looked at everyone below the stage. Now I'm going to reveal a secret about Qin Xinghuan's true identity. Everyone held their breath. Qin Xinghuan is not an adopted orphan. She is a clone my parents created. The venue burst into an uproar. When I was born, my IQ was discovered to be as high as 190. But they thought that wasn't enough and wanted to create a more perfect genius. Then they used cloning technology to create Qin Xinghuan, aiming for her to reach a perfect IQ of 200. Father stood up abruptly. Zhao, what are you talking about? I continued, but the clone's intelligence did not meet expectations. We were left with no choice but to implant a connection chip in our brains, so that Qin Xinghuan could directly read my thoughts and memories. The chip is located in the scar on the back of our necks. This is why she always seems to know my research results in advance, why she can replicate all of my ideas. The audience below was in an uproar, and reporters frenziedly snapped their shutters. A while ago, I learned the truth through Professor Ji Xian and had the chip removed during surgery. So Qin Xinghuan suddenly lost her inspiration and could no longer continue her brilliant performance. Qin Xinghuan stopped crying and slowly looked up at me. Mom rushed up onto the stage and hugged her. Xinghuan, you will always be our child, not a scientific monster. Dad also came over, trembling. No matter what you are our daughter. Qin Xinghuan looked at her parents holding her and suddenly sneered. Actually, I knew it a long time ago. She pushed away her parents, stood up. I discovered the existence of the chip several years ago. Everyone was stunned. Qin Xinghuan's expression twisted. Do you think I don't know I'm a copy? Qin Xinghuan's hand reached into her chest, pulling out a small black remote. Do you think I came here to confess? She raised the remote, a twisted smile on her face. I have planted bombs in every corner of this venue. Since I cannot live, then let us all die together. The audience erupted in screams. Experts rushed toward the door. Chairs were knocked over, and someone fell to the ground. Father trembled all over. Xinghuan, you've gone mad. Mother pounced forward, trying to grab the remote. Child, don't do this. Qin Xinghuan pushed them aside, her fingers hovering above the button. The clone is a monster, right? Then I'll become a complete monster to show you. Qin Xinghuan pressed the button. Nothing happened. She froze for a moment, frantically pressing it several times. Yet there was still no response. I slowly pulled out another remote from my pocket and waved it in front of everyone. Are you looking for this? Tsinghua face instantly paled. Impossible. I clearly hid it very well. Lu Jingxing helped me pick it up. I glanced toward a corner of the stage. Come out. Lu Jingxing steps out from the crowd, carrying a backpack. The bombs are all here. The detonator has already been removed. 3 days ago, the conversation with Lu Jingxing. I told him that once Tsinghua is exposed, she will certainly take extreme actions. I need him to lurk by Tsinghua side and stop her at the crucial moment. Lu Jingxing asked me at the time, why do you trust that I will help you? I answered, because you know better than anyone that following a fake genius is doomed to have no future. Looking back now, he made the right choice. He looked at Tsinghua with a bitter face. Forgive me, Tsinghua. I really don't want to be with a clone. Tsinghua collapsed to the ground, emitting a harsh laugh. Ha ha ha. I'm a joke. My life is really a joke. That's not it. Tsinghua, you are the most perfect creation of your parents. You can't give up on yourself. The parents knelt in front of me again, eyes filled with tears. Zhao Zhao, we were wrong. The father's voice choked. Please forgive us. Spare your sister. The mother grabbed the hem of my clothes. We really know we were wrong. We'll make it up to you from now on. I looked at them, and my heart remained unmoved. This kind of scene had appeared countless times in my imagination, but when it actually happened, I found I could feel nothing at all. Law shows no mercy. I whispered. The police rushed in at this moment. Lu Jingxing walked over, handed the backpack to the police, and identified us crimes. The authorities accused Tsinghua of planning a terrorist incident, and the Shin couple of illegal human experiments, the police officer announced. When the parents were handcuffed, the mother was still crying. Zhao Zhao, we are your biological parents. I turned around and no longer looked at her. When Tsinghua was dragged away, she turned back and said to me, do you think you won? And how can you be sure I am your clone? And you are not my clone? Clones have defective genes. We are doomed not to live long. I am waiting to see how you die. 3 months later, the court delivered its verdict. Because cloning experiments are strictly prohibited by international law, the parents were sentenced to life imprisonment. Tsinghua was sentenced to life imprisonment for attempting to carry out a terrorist attack. I returned to the laboratory and devoted myself to research. Free from the troubles of theft, my research progressed rapidly. A year later, I stood on the podium in Stockholm, receiving the dual medals of the Nobel Prize in Chemistry and Medicine. I became the youngest person in history to win 2 Nobel Prizes. The audience roared with applause, and the flashbulbs glittered like stars. After the awards ceremony, I was alone hiking in the snowy mountains of Sweden. The crisp air kept my mind awake, and the snow-covered peaks glistened in the sunlight. Suddenly, the roar of a car engine came from behind. I turned around and saw an SUV speeding toward me. Through the windshield, I glimpsed that familiar yet twisted face. Tsinghua. I rolled quickly to the right. The off-road vehicle brushed past my body, smashed through the guardrail, and tumbled down the cliff. I walked to the edge of the cliff and looked down. I saw the car burning into a ball of fire. She actually escaped from prison, chased all the way here, intending to die with me. I brushed off the snowflakes from my body and continued to move forward. The sunlight spilled onto the snow, reflecting a diamond-like gleam. My shadow was very long, but my steps were incredibly steadfast. The road of science is still long, and the future of humanity holds countless possibilities, and I will continue to walk this path, using my wisdom to benefit the world. As for those who betrayed me in the past, they have already received their deserved endings. Fortunately, I lived to be 120 in the end, and I am not the clone that Shenwanqing spoke of. After all, only a person with a soul can be reborn, right?